All right, welcome to Hanging Out with Hamza. This is Hamza, and today I have a great guest on. He is a good friend of mine. I consider him family at this point. His name is Farhan. Farhan and I met basically through a number of connections, but initially I was going to suit supply because I love suits, I love dressing well, and I really wanted to get a nice new suit. I just recently became a dentist and I was like, okay, I could finally afford a nice suit. So I'm gonna go to check it out. And one of my good friends, Usman, who's this super tall giant friend of mine, recommended Farhan to me. So reached out to Farhan, and it like instantly we became good friends. He welcomed me with open arms and just basically helped me throughout the entire process of buying a suit. And it was the best experience I ever had buying a suit. And I've already bought three suits through him.
Yeah.
Now, this is my fourth one, as you can see. And this suit is a Lusso suit from his company that he's just started. So, without further ado, I'll pass it over to Farhan to introduce himself. But before we get started, I want to say thanks for listening and welcome to Hanging Out with Hamza. Hey y'all, this is Hamza, and I'm super happy we get to hang out for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here, Hamza. Thank you so much for having me. I think before you were just touching on how we met, and I was just thinking myself too. It was one of those things where I think I appreciate you from afar before I really met you. I knew of you. I think we knew of each other just because of, Usman and your brother, Cruz, of course. And I was like, this guy is fly, much better dressed than your brother, I'll say. But yeah, I think it's been what, 5, 6 years now, and just
Yeah, almost five
It's just
months.
like you're like a brother to me, so I'm really happy to be here. My name is Farhan Janjua. I'm the creative director of Lusso MTM. Prior to that, where I met Hamza, I think officially was Suit Supply, where I used to be a made-to-measure expert, and we got you a really nice suit off the rack. You fit well in everything, and you have a good sense of style, so you make it real easy for me to, dress and give advice to you. So
Thank you.
you look like the man right now.
I appreciate it. And as you guys can see, if you're not watching this right now, go on my YouTube and we have a video version of this where you can see the suits designed by Lutzo. Today I'm wearing my very first Lutzo suit, and it's my first custom made to measure suit, which basically Farhan will go more into this, but basically I'm getting this suit custom tailored from head to toe based on my specific measurements. So only I can wear the suit. There's nobody else in this world that will fit in the suit better than I can, which I think every man growing up should at least have one made to measure suit. It's such a staple in their closet, and I think it's not only an important thing to have for special occasions, but just, for you can apply it to so many different occasions. And I think that's something that I've really loved about this aspect of fashion and design. And Farhan kind of helped me along the entire process. So, with that being said, you know that this podcast is dedicated to passions and projects, and this is a passion project from Farhan. And I wanted to dig deeper into how he got here and what brought him to this position. So, I want to start off with, like, I guess your entry point into this. Like, where did this initially start? Have you been like this since you were a kid? Have you always loved fashion? Like, where did this initial passion begin?
I think for me, Hamza, growing up, I was very expressive as a child. My parents liked to remind me, and I looked for any sort of avenue that reflected my passion, be it, the TV or cartoon shows I was interested in, to the friends I was making, and also to the clothes that I would wear. I would always wear like these, gregarious colors and, prints, and I like to stand out. I'm not a shy person. I like to have my presence felt. So even growing up, I think just subconsciously, I would look for any sort of instrument to, amplify my presence. And so as I got older in high school, everybody can relate. In high school, it's all about, dressing like how the cool kids dress, and I never really felt like I fit in that sense. You know what I mean? I was very skinny. I was very lanky, awkward, so clothes wouldn't fit me so well.
Mhm.
But I always looked up to some people that, I wanted to be around people who were well dressed. And what really got me into suits was when I was 18, I moved overseas. My father accepted a position overseas, and I had to go to an international school. And at this international school, it was my first time ever having to wear a uniform. And it was a white shirt, navy tie, black dress shoes, and they would do a uniform check as you would walk in. And I just fell in love with the discipline of it all. Your shoes had to be polished, your shirt had to be creased and pressed. Your tie knot had to be, standing tall, and that discipline that was involved in the getting ready process, I just fell in love with. And when you wear a suit, when you wear clothes that are made for you, such as what you're wearing now and what I'm wearing, there's no brand name. You don't really see, you don't see like a LV on anything. You don't see the logo, and it doesn't really bail you out. You really have to be disciplined in color stories and the fit. And once I got a taste of that, I was just addicted. So, coming back when I moved back over here, I was the only, I think, 20, 21-year-old in my friend group just wearing blazers and shirts, and it just became a drug for me, man.
Yeah, I think that's the initial thing I noticed about you when I walked into Suit Supply. I was like, I think living in America, the concept of well-fitted suits, well-fitted clothes is still not like a norm. And like you go to Europe, which like I have family in Europe and even in Africa, like I think well-fitted things are more of a norm there. And
Yeah.
so it was a big kind of surprise to me when I came here because, I'd see people wearing baggy suits, like
Yeah.
straight off the rack from Macy's and stuff. And like I always thought it was so odd because I was like, this person, do they realize like this does isn't the right fit for them? And I
Yeah.
was like a kid at that time noticing this, and like it always bugged me like when I wore stuff that didn't fit me well, I just felt uncomfortable in it. I just didn't fit right and it would like drape off of my
Yeah.
shoulders. I hated that look. And so suits to me was like the perfect kind of like expression of like, perfect fitting things because they every piece is like measured to that. And so when I saw you, I was like, okay, that's exactly what I was looking for because you dress so well from head to toe. Even though you work at Suit Supply, I know that that's like what you're supposed to do. But like even outside of it,
Yeah.
like I saw him the other day and he was like asking me about jeans because you don't even wear jeans. Like you're constantly dressed head to toe in
Yeah.
really good quality materials, and I've never seen you underdressed. You're one of those people that
Man.
the quote like it's always better to be overdressed than
Yeah.
underdressed. Like I feel like that's like your motto going everywhere.
Yeah, I think I've like I mentioned earlier, I do feel that the way you dress is an extension of yourself. It can really tell a lot about a person. I don't like to be preemptive or presumptive in that sense, but I really like to, dive deeper on is that um what better form of self-respect is there than making sure you are the most put together when you follow your passions or your pursuits. I always found myself, even while I was going to school and working, if I was in class in a suit, I was just taken much more serious with my professors. If I got off of, let's say, suit supply, and I went to a restaurant and I didn't make a booking, but you come in and you're wearing a suit, people want people who take care of themselves and look the part to be around them,
Right.
so I'm not saying I do this for the, acceptance of others, but I did feel that benefit of if you take care of yourself, good things happen, around you. And
Right.
that's also, mentally, that's also like athletically, what you exercise so you feel good, you
Yeah.
dress well, and it gives you an additional boost and, furthers your ambitions. And that's what I found
It's just kind of
in
how
my
you
life.
present yourself as a human being,
Yeah,
really.
absolutely.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
yeah, so I mean that also goes into, I guess, from Suit Supply, where when was it that you decided that you wanted to step out of that realm and into your own and start your
Yeah.
own company?
Suit Supply was, one of the most pivotal moments in my career, given that I shopped there before I worked there. And, my favorite suit ever is a navy peak lapel suit, similar to what I'm wearing, that Tom Ford makes. And I remember at that time, I was like 22, 23. I can't afford a Tom Ford suit. So I Googled Tom Ford lookalikes. And Suit Supply has this model of suit that essentially is like a replica of theirs. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna check these guys out. And I went there, and I walked into the store, and it was a lovely experience. And I was just like, as far as like part-time work's considered, I wouldn't even consider this work. You get to meet really cool people, dress the part every day. And I was able to do that. And I think it was just one of those things that just propelled me to think about, what do you really want to do?
Yeah.
And, I eventually always wanted to start my own one way or another, but I also was humble enough to know that I'm going to soak up whatever I can. I'm going to give good service to all of my clients, build relationships, and a lot of those turn into like friendships. And now in this position I am, I've just been blown away with all the support that a lot of my, I don't want to say former clients, the friends that I made from there, wanted to see me succeed, and they really believed in my style of service. They believed in the way I dressed and my advice, and I'm only able to be as a head in Lusso because of that. So That experience just showed me what it was like, and from there I was inspired and wanted to, follow it on my own path.
Yeah, and I mean, just to, I guess, come off of that, I wanted to also say that I wouldn't have invested in this suit and this podcast if it wasn't for my belief in your passion and
That means
how
a lot
you
to me.
brought
Thank
yourself
you.
to this position. And I think like you're going to do great stuff with this company,
Thank you.
and I admire your kind of pursuit towards it because, it is very challenging to start your own company, let alone in
Yeah.
fashion, because fashion's a very cutthroat kind of company, or a very cutthroat culture.
Yeah.
And so to step into this industry, it takes a lot of, ambition and also just confidence in
Yeah.
oneself. So good for you for doing that. I wanted to go into, I guess, like, what did you learn along the way about, men's suits, and what do you feel like you'd like to share with guys listening to this who feel like they maybe are still like how I was when I first walked in? Like, I knew the bare minimum about it,
Yeah.
but I learned a lot from you. So, are there any kind of essentials you hope people can learn?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'll tell it from a Lusso perspective
Right.
because I think it was a full circle experience in that what I found and learned is that oftentimes when buying a suit, you're invited into somebody's life in a very intimate way. Be it if they're getting married, if they're graduating, if they've accepted a position at work and they need to dress the part. All of these moments in life are very celebratory. And you find that these people come in, want to find a look that is reflective of those experiences. And, I like to really get to the root of who a person is. And I want them to feel that what they're choosing is an extension of themselves, right? So a lot of times when people shop off the rack, they're trying to fit into something that wasn't made for them.
Right.
It's for the sake of convenience. Whereas I found it, people enjoy the experience more if you create an environment where they can share a little bit more about themselves, and whatever comes from those discussions is um, demonstrated in the item they're choosing, right? They'll tell a huge, you can tell a huge part of the suit or the experience is something that they're going to look back on years after, and you just want to make sure that when they're doing that, it's the most enjoyable experience for them.
Right. Okay. And then, yeah, I mean, also to add to that, I feel like there's been girls I've spoken to in the past that also say in the same way you did, where, you know, women in general spend a lot of time taking care of
Yeah,
themselves, putting makeup on, putting all this effort into like how they look for you. And I remember her mentioning that, like, we put all this time into how we look for you guys. It would be nice if you guys put the same effort, for us. And
yeah,
I think suits are kind of like the best kind of example of that, is like the time and effort you put into that is really, also you returning the favor to your significant other or anybody you're around, because a lot of times those people put in the time to like look good for you. So it's
yeah,
another way to, reflect on that.
yeah.
Um,
I'll tell you, man, I was 23, 24, wearing a suit, and for a guy that, I didn't have a lot of, women interests in my life young on. It was just like eye-opening just how much like the little bit of effort,
yeah,
how far it goes. And
yeah,
then you do it like this, you're just like, whoa, you could,
yeah.
instead you walk in and just have your pick sometimes,
Yeah, I mean, you can be like a solid 4, but if you wear a solid good suit, you can go up to 8 or 9. Like just
Yeah,
look at
it's smoke and mirrors, man. It's
yeah,
smoke and mirrors.
just look
Yeah,
at my
just
brother. My brother somehow like looks better with suits on. That's why he's always wearing them. So, yeah, but when it comes to initially getting a suit, I guess, as a guy listening to this,
yeah.
what would be your pointers to take into account? Like, let's say a guy doesn't go to a suit supply, but he goes to a store to get a suit right now. What would you say your advice is to look for, things to kind of keep an
Yeah,
eye out for?
I'll share again through the Lutzo, mentality is that it shouldn't be a chore.
Yeah,
Like you had mentioned, having a well-fitting suit in your closet just to pull out at any moment's notice, I think is really important. Given the fact that you have to go out to the store and try it on, it could be daunting.
yeah,
It could be daunting. And a lot of times, if you're not familiar, just like with anything, it's intimidating experience, and you're really dependent on somebody to help you throughout that. So, what I would suggest to people is that if you're building a wardrobe and you wanted to add a suit, you have to be really honest with yourself and first decide what is my intention in terms of use. Have a motivation or a North Star that will sort of reflect your use of the suit, and then just hold on to that because I think that's the most important information. I think versatility is very important. I'm not really about this culture where, you know, you wear it once and you don't ever wear it again. I like to think of this as like, this is my uniform. I could wear this every single day and I'd be
Yeah.
just fine with that.
Yeah.
Secondly, I'm sorry. Um, I would reflect on items you already have on your closet that you might want to wear with the suit. I'm a big utilitarian. I want to make sure that when I put an item on, this is not the only way I can wear it. I can go through at least 50 shirt and tie combinations I have at home with the exact same suit. I could mix the pants out for another pair, and it just gives you this web of options to wear them to. And then lastly, I would suggest is you have to be very self-aware. Suits are intended to fit on you, so when you're buying off the rack, you know, it's a generic fit to which you sort of jump into and force yourself. Whereas when you go to get something made to measure, it starts with a tape measure, meaning it is built around you, right? It's built with you in mind, the sole purpose, and to get to know yourself. And, you know, it should feel like a second skin. It should feel like something you're fluid in. It should never be limiting. It should never be something that's uncomfortable. You should feel very confident. And anything that makes you walk faster and stand taller, I would pursue an option like that.
Okay. And then in terms of that, and you did mention like it's also like your personality, which it should represent who you are, which
Yeah.
I think was an important thing you told me because I think, you assess people before they come in and also kind of get to know who they are and
Yeah.
what they need it for. And I really like that about you because, I worked in Apple before, and now that I'm a dentist, I feel like I took a lot of that to dentistry because it's a lot of similar things where you want to understand the person as an individual before you start catering to their needs. And I think you did that really well with me, trying to figure out like, okay, what do I need this for? Like, what are my favorite colors? And like, because it's summertime, you want to go for these kinds of colors versus wintertime. And
Right.
I think all those things are so important. And when you just buy it off the rack, you're not getting that kind of custom kind of eye for the things. And I think that's another important aspect of buying a suit is you really need to understand that that suits a direct extension of your personality too.
Yeah.
And to the amateur eye, I think suits can all look alike, but if you look closely, there's so many like little details. Like even in here, there's so many little things that we'll go over later
Yeah.
on in the podcast, which I think are awesome because you really get to customize a suit to
Yeah.
fit who you are as a person.
Exactly.
So if you look at me and my brother, we wear completely different suits. We're completely different people. We have completely different personalities, and yet our suits match our personalities so well
Yeah.
based on like what we're looking for. And I think that was something really great that I learned about that I just had no idea. So yeah, is there anything you want to kind of build
Yeah.
off
I
of
mean,
that?
I think just going off what you said, you said it perfectly. I think that a lot of times what I tell people is that imagine you meet somebody that you've never met before and they see what you're wearing. We're humans. By nature, we're going to make some assumptions about what this person is like. I look at the suit you're wearing right now. It's a lovely shade of green. You have a nice pop of the brown hair. The color story on you, even with all your jewelry, your shoes, and the accents. If I had never met you before, I'd be like, "This is the best dressed podcaster in the world," right? But at the end of the day, the suit, the clothes never made the man. The man made the clothes. So your personality on top of how you encompass how you dress really is what makes the impact.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you walk in somewhere and you're dressed to the, you know, you're just very prim and you come in, but you know, you're not well mannered, or you know, you're very
Obnoxious.
flamboyant, you know, with your personality. Sometimes it just clashes and it doesn't get that impact. Whereas, you know, I always felt that when I dress a certain way, I like to speak a certain way, I like to act a certain way, and
You kind of
all
carry yourself.
together, it's a package, right?
Yeah.
It comes as a package, and that package isn't the same for any two people. It's
Right.
always your personal touch that I think is the cherry on top.
Right. Um, yeah, and based on that, I think are there any fashion no-nos or suit design no-nos that you really think are important to bring up? I think there's a lot of things that, you probably see that
Yeah.
make you cringe that you think everybody should know about.
It used when I was younger, when I was like in my early 20s, I always would be I'd be quite critical. Let's just put it that way. I was quite critical, but now I think rules are intended to be broken.
Yeah.
I think you should try to break all the rules, and if you feel confident, more power to you. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Again, you know, who am I to tell somebody like don't do that, don't button another button?
Yeah.
What I would say is the one thing that is critical that no matter through time, through trends, when style changes, you have to get something that fits you. A lot of time people like this over tapered look, right? That it's super tight. And I always associate words like tight with uncomfort. Why make yourself uncomfortable? You know what I mean? You can get a true sense of a suit that was made for you just by the way it fits, regardless of the pattern, regardless of the color, regardless of the mill. It doesn't matter. What will make the impact is how the suit fits around you. So
Right.
I would just say the only thing would be is to dress just in a style that is self-aware and keep it true to fit and don't make yourself unnecessarily uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say.
Yeah, and I thought about that a lot lately because I remember there's a long time I'd read GQ magazine as a kid, and they would be like, "Don't wear black shoes with this suit, and don't wear this and that." And I used to follow it religiously, and then I realized after a while I was like, "Who makes these rules?" Like
Yeah.
it's some random dude that just had a bad day and
Yeah.
doesn't like that style.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all based on personal preference. But I do think there are like certain things that like the unbuttoning the suit before you sit down, like that's just like
Yeah.
a functional thing.
Yeah.
Like
This
you
is
don't want
technical
to.
stuff, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so there's like certain no-nos that are more on the functional aspect than, stylistic. But I do agree. I think it's like whatever makes you happy and comfortable.
Yeah.
And I've started to break those. Like for the longest time, I didn't like wearing jewelry
Yeah.
because I was like, no, guys shouldn't wear that much jewelry. And then after a while, I was like, where am I getting this like rule from? And now I love it. And yeah, I think that's like a great perspective to have. And I think as a business owner for this kind of company, it's so important to have that idea because you don't close yourself off to like change and
Yeah. Well said.
growth over time. And you might have a client who completely like adds to that and like makes you realize, oh, this does go with that because this client really wanted that. And so,
Yeah, I think again, rules are meant to be broken,
yeah,
but I don't confuse like commandments and opinions.
yeah,
So what I will give is my opinion on things, and a lot of times, I'll always tell like our clients when they ask me like, Farhan, what would you make? What would you do?
yeah,
And I'll be like, what I would do
yeah,
is this. But like we are coming from two different motivations, so I kind of justify why, and sometimes people say, oh, okay, well, I like that, so I'll just adopt that
yeah,
mentality, which is cool. I really like to share my preference. I think that's part of the experience with Lusso
right.
is that it's not just you come in and you pick. I will make sure I consult and make sure that the styles you choose does give you the best look and reflects an aesthetic that perhaps is a combination of what we both would like. And then also there are the people that just come in like, dude, I need a well-fitting suit. Just
Yeah,
point me in the right direction.
right. They
And
just
then
want,
I'll just kind of, based off learning about them, do my best to, make sure that item is a reflection of them.
yeah, and that's kind of what happened with me. I think, I mean, initially when I saw you in Suit Supply, I knew the bare minimum, but as I got to know more, I got to also establish what I'm more picky about. And now, with this instance of seeing you, and I want to go in that process of the Lutso
Yeah,
process. But I came in saying like, okay, I have this, this, and this already. I want to try this now. And then
yeah,
I was also like, but I don't know much about this. Maybe educate me in that realm. And we went through that entire process where there were certain things I knew I liked, and there's certain things I didn't know about. And then there's things I know I definitely don't
yeah,
like. And it was nice because it was like the entire process was such an evolution from the first time I saw you in Suit Supply, where I was more just like, hey, just help me and guide me in the right direction.
yeah,
I don't know if I know the right stuff. And I think that's the beauty of also buying a suit is you really learn a lot in the process and you're not just gonna have one suit your whole life. Like it'd be nice to just have one, but
yeah.
it's good to have multiple suits for multiple occasions and to be able to like learn about what your desires and likes are over time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when it comes to the experience with it, a lot of times I'll say is once you go the custom route for fit, you're wearing something again that revolved around not only, you in concept, but you physically.
Yeah,
And for me, I don't see how you could do that and then just go back to wearing things that weren't measured for you,
yeah,
right? So I think when somebody takes that approach, we're all unique in our own rights. We all have our own, reasons of why we live, what we do, and I think our clothing it should be unique in that sense too. Now, I mean, I'm not saying I get like tailor-made Nike shorts or tailored Lululemon tees. Yeah, I love shopping off the rack, but certain clothes when I want to feel my best, when I want to look my best, when I want to dress in a more formal aesthetic,
yeah,
I feel that the off the rack options just limit you. And if
yeah,
you are somebody that like, I rent a tuxedo because I only wear one once a year. I think that's cool. That's fine. That's understandable, right? There is a financial aspect to this too. But then also, I think if you rent a tux like 3 times, you've already paid the amount to make one made to measure
exactly.
tuxedo. So why not do it once, but
Yeah,
right? Some guys will buy suits from like retailers in the mall. and just to, for a financial save on cost. Like, dude, I just need a suit for the weekend. Then you do that 3 or 4 times, you've already exceeded the cost and just doing it once and
Yeah.
doing it right. So I think invest in yourself
Yeah.
and invest in your wardrobe is something that's really important.
Yeah. It's funny. There's like, I don't know, I'll bring it to dentistry, but there's so many similarities with that. It's like people will pay for the cheaper option, but if you just pay a little bit more, you get the longer term benefit, and it applies to so many things. And it's like
Yeah.
funny how people will try to take that shortcut and not realize in the long run they're gonna waste so much more money on
Yeah.
things. And so that's really important to bring up. So we're gonna go to a quick commercial break, but after this, we're gonna go into the Lusso process and how to get your suit through Lusso. So stay tuned.
The newest member of Team Lusso right here.
Yeah, the first ambassador
Yeah, the first.
before my brother.
Yeah.
Okay, so welcome back to Hanging Out with Hamza. So um, again, the reason I had Farhan on is because I love him as a brother. I think he has a great passion for something that we both really love together. And with that passion, he started this project called Lusso with his incredible friend who also has an incredible name, Hamza. He's off screen right now helping with the camera, but I also wanted to mention him because he's been a whole huge part of this process with
He's the
you.
breath and soul of our business.
Yeah,
He's the breath and
and
soul of our business.
yeah, sorry Hamza for not getting you on here, but he's behind the scenes doing amazing stuff right now, and there can only be one Hamza on camera right now. But yeah, I wanted to go into the Lutzo process, so I'll start off with, I guess, you talking about your company, what Lutzo means,
Yeah.
how you came with that brand identity, and what I guess what the essential like purpose is of Lutzo.
Yeah, Lutzo, again, talking about my dear friend and business partner Hamza, I have to give him all the credit because I sort of talked to him about what my passion was. And, the origin of Lutzo is uh, we wanted to find something that, wasn't a side hustle. We weren't thinking about how can we make this something really big in a financial model. We wanted to do something we cared about. And I talked to him about what my motivations and passions were, and he noticed it. He was like, "Dude, you just like everything Italian because the Italian style, the Italian fabrics, Italian cuisine. It's all my like favorite stuff."
Yeah,
And he said we should really drive on that. So we kind of talked and we were discussing what names to go with, and he came back the next day and he's like, "I think we should choose a Italian word," and I found one. It's called Luzzo, and I heard it, and it was one of those things that when you fall in love at first sight. Well, I heard this and I fell in love, and I
yeah,
was like, "This has to be it." So we chose Luzzo MTF. Luzzo is an Italian word that means, luxury, essence, a person's elegance, and so we felt that that is a good representation of what emotion we want to invoke when you wear our clothes, and that's where the name came from. And then again, myself personally, I'm just like I'd mentioned, just drawn to everything Italian. My dream destination is Italy. I want to visit all the mills and do proper time. I've been there, in terms of just researching and speaking over the phone to our contacts in Italy at the mills that we, do business with. But I can't wait to just turn my phone off and do like a 3 week expedition in Italy in my Fiat and visit
yeah.
all the mills and try all the, restaurants and so on and so forth. So that's where the motivation came from to
That's
choose a
awesome.
name. And again, I give all the credit to Hamza for finding the name.
That's great. Well, props to Hamza on that. Everybody needs one Hamza in their life. So,
I got lucky with two.
yeah. But in terms of, I guess, starting the company off, once you kind of got it off and running, what did you want to kind of like what did you want this company to be unique in their own
Yeah.
way? Like what's the process in this company that makes it different from the run-of-the-mill usual ones?
Yeah, run of the mill. No pun
Yeah.
intended.
Yeah.
Nah. Again, going back on, I didn't see this as a side hustle.
Yeah.
By professional trade, I'm in consulting, and I wanted to find something that was a vehicle for me to just have another opportunity to meet people. And
Yeah.
this is why I do this because I love meeting new people. And again, I'm often invited to very intimate moments in a lot of our clients' lives, whether they're making something again for something as important as weddings, or hey, I'm attending a party and I need to make an impact. I love stuff like that, and this is why I continue to do it. And my end goal with this, and what I hope I'm offering is, anybody in any sort of sales or anybody that's in a business. you can sell a tangible product like we sell garments, but I like to say we sell confidence. And it just so happens you get a suit
Yeah,
along the way. I just want you to feel that, when you're wearing our clothes, because we got into the root of why you're wearing it, you really do have some sort of, awakening to understanding that you're the man.
yeah,
That's how you should feel like. You should wear your clothes and stand tall and shake hands more firm and move with the mission. And that's what I hope that anybody who wears our clothing feels and notices about themselves as well.
right. And to dive off that, my Lutzer process, obviously, I know Farhan, so it was really easy to kind of establish like what this process was like, and I was really excited to get my first Lutzo suit with him. I knew I wanted to get something different. So let's go through that
Yeah,
process.
yeah,
So initially, I came into his fitting room. We talked about what the fabric color and choice was going to be initially.
yeah.
And do you want to go into like your fabrics
Yeah,
what makes it?
absolutely. Like even where we're shooting in what I like to call Chateau Lusso.
Yeah,
This is where we are right now. So we are based in Houston, Texas at the moment, and Hamza and myself do understand that just through our social media presence, we've just been blown away with a lot of people interested in our process of getting a suit made in different cities, and we're working on a way to set up a business model to where we're able to do fittings in other cities. I'm sorry, that's coming very soon. But at the moment, we're serving our Houston client base. And how we do that is we have a website, we have a booking tool through social media. So let's just say somebody was interested in getting something made. You would book us in our website, pick a time slot, and from there, what they can expect is a phone call from me or some sort of way to get in touch. The reason I want to do that is I always want to, not only introduce our business model, but myself first. When you work with us, you'll only work with me and Hamza. There's no other handoff or transition in business that will, give people a feeling that it wasn't something uniform throughout the entire experience. So when we offer that, I really want to get to the sense of what they want, when they need it, and then why they're buying it. Once we figure that out, I get them here in person. We run through a very nuanced fitting profile. We take all of their measurements. We take a lot of their physical attributes in mind. Our master tailor uses all of this information to make sure that everything is cut with precision. Once we get the fitting done, we run through our fabric selection. So all of our fabrics here at Luzzo are from Italian mills, and they start at what's called a Super 130s grade. All that means is that the rating of the wool sort of reflects to us that intended use, is what I like to say. So, for example, a Super 130 suit is a great luxury feeling suit that will get good run, a few times a month if you take care of it. And the higher grade you go, you do get a more prestigious fabric. But with that, probably don't want to wear it as often to ensure its quality over a longer period of time. So I like to think of it as somebody who collects, watches. If you start entry level, chances are you start to get higher and higher end and you wear them seldomly. So just like with suits, you build your wardrobe, you get a few 130s pieces, then you add a 150s, and then you go higher, and then you have a nice rotation and balance in between. But yeah, once fabric's selected, we customize the suit top to bottom. So we do everything on the outside, everything on the inside, and from there, we like to get some sort of rendering, some sort of profile of the item that's chosen to our client, and then it's a 3 week process from there. And
yeah,
then once it arrives, we set up a second fitting. Any alterations that we need to have done, we ensure back within 24 hours. We've partnered with different tailors within the city of Houston, and we just choose the one that will allow us to make sure we get it back to you ASAP.
that's awesome.
And we don't do just suits, we're experimenting with all sorts of looks and trends.
Yeah,
We sell ties, pocket squares, shirts. We make separate trousers. We just bought a lot of silk fabrics. I'm breaking news right now. I haven't told a lot of people this, but we're looking to get into the casual, more trendier sort of style of fashion too. But what I like to say is that experience of meeting somebody new shouldn't just be of just making a suit. I want it to be in anything you want to get made. Hopefully, you would choose us and allow us to, have a shot at it.
awesome. Well, that's it. And I guess with that, now I want to kind of go into my suit and the details on it.
Yeah.
So, uh, I guess I don't know where to start. So, obviously, first off, we'll start off with the color. So, this kind of shade of green is one of my favorite colors. If you're watching the videos, you can see even the backdrop and everything was intentionally painted for this podcast to match it. But yeah, I really love green. I love how it goes with, I guess, my brown skin, and wearing gold is always great with it.
Yeah.
So I told Farhan that I already have a blue suit, I have a gray suit, and I have a light blue suit. So I was like, I wanted to go something a little more statement piece.
Yeah.
And we came down to this fabric. What quality of wool is this one?
Yeah, so this is a Super 130s wool.
Okay.
This is Super 130s wool.
And
So
I can vouch that it's super breathable, super light, but I can tell that, in a cold climate, it'll keep me warm if
yeah.
needed. So it feels like an all seasonal kind of
Yeah,
material.
when you think of an outfit in from a seasonal perspective, what I like to say is, the suit and trousers are really the foundation, but you can sort of manipulate all the other items that you put on to be reflective of a seasonal look. For example, this is a very trendy spring summer look that he has on right now. It's a lightweight fabric, so it feels well. It's with a brown knitted tie, so it doesn't feel like it's, too overdressed. But in the wintertime, when it gets a little bit cooler, he can put a turtleneck underneath and substitute the shirt and tie for that, and maybe wear a pair of boots underneath as well.
Yeah.
Or you can just wear a white t-shirt and white sneakers with this as well. So it's all about, again, versatility. I want you to feel like you have an item that can reflect all of the other sort of styles that you intend to wear the suit with.
Yeah.
Meaning you don't always have to wear pair of dress shoes or a tie with it. I want you to feel like this is something that in your closet can revolve around a lot of the other pieces that are there, and it's very flexible.
Okay. And yeah, going from that, we'll go down to I guess the pockets.
Yeah.
So we had pocket details added on here. Do you mind explaining?
Yeah, in fact, I'll even start just from the top. You and I are actually wearing the same sort of profile of suit. So this is in our Leonardo cut of suit. So all that means is a peak lapel chest,
Hmm.
slightly padded shoulders. And then we gave it a nice ticket pocket on the side right over here. Functional buttons are in our suit. So what that means is all the buttons on the sleeve are all functional. Side tab adjusters on the trousers as well. So just very very, very cool features that he picked. And again, yeah, this guy makes it easy for me, man. He's well dressed, he's stylish himself. He gives me a lot of advice when I need it sometimes too. So don't sell yourself short, bro.
Well, I
But no, this
appreciate that.
altogether put, it's a color that is, again, very ambitious, but we gave it very prominent features as well. And that was by intent. If you're gonna go the distance of getting something as particular as a shade of green like this, add the features on there that allow it to still stand out more. So peak lapels tend to be very aggressive. They tend to make a statement. And I wanted to do that with this fabric. And again, the overall color story, it's all about being self-aware. So a color like this tends to look good on skin tones like yours. And I love playing around with different shades of brown. So, from your shoes to your tie to your pocket square, your color story right now is, something that's really well put together. And my favorite feature of his suit that you can't see is the pink polka dot lining that he has on the inside, and he told me he did that for all the ladies that are going to come up to him for the suit that just love pink. So that's the main feature on his.
Yeah, I mentioned that it's kind of a good representation of me. It's like a little sensitivity on the
Oh
inside,
yeah, of course, dude.
little feminine features there. But yeah, I love the suit so far. As soon as I tried it on, it was one of those like fit like a glove feelings, and it's such a great feeling because you like I feel like when you spend a lot on something, you're always like, oh, like, and it happens with anything. When you spend a lot, you have that initial like kind of cringe, like, oh man, that's a lot. Like I
Yeah,
hope that wasn't. And then as soon as you either try it on or drive it or wear it, you're just like, okay, like I get it. I get why I paid a
yeah,
premium for this. And let's face it, like Lutso is a premium
yeah,
thing. Like it's not for everyone, and it is something you like kind of pay a penny for, but you get the quality and you get the craftsmanship behind it. And once you wear it, you kind of realize what you paid for.
yeah,
And that's exactly what I felt. And I can say I felt it more with this than I did with my previous suits that I've gotten in the past. So I want to vouch for that. Bias aside as your friend, I do
yeah,
think you guys did a great job. And that's a tough thing too, is as a friend, you always want to support your friends'
yeah,
companies. And sometimes their companies or their products aren't as great as
yeah,
you anticipated, but you're there to support them regardless. And this is one of
absolutely.
those moments where I was really happy that not only was I able to support you, but I got something that I would have bought if you weren't my friend. So
Yeah.
that it's like the added bonus of that. So
No, and it's I tell Hamza and I talk my business partner and friend, we talk about it a lot. Selling to your friends and family is more difficult than strangers. because um, I think there's a lot of pressure involved in that. There's established relationships already, so you already know the person. Now you have to nail the fit. You have to nail the feeling that you want to give them. And a lot of times, our purpose at Lutso is that we just give everybody a friendly, but of course, a professional driven experience. So, it could be somebody as close as Hamza, but even somebody new. I think everybody that's come has walked away if they'd ever met us thinking I just hung out with two of my new friends and I had a
Yeah.
good time. And oh, by the way, I have a suit coming in 3 weeks. That's what we want to have you feel like. It's not something that, it's not a very pretentious feel. We don't want you to think it's very highbrow. You're coming to hang out with us, and we're going to talk about something important happening in your life, and we're going to play around with some colors and patterns, and we have music playing. Our fitting studio. You come in, and we want you to feel like you just come and you hung out with us. And
Yeah.
if everybody feels like that when they shop with us, then that's a job well done
Yeah.
by us.
And I'll be completely transparent. I bought this suit thinking like, okay, there's a 50-50 chance that it might not be what I want. It might not be the best quality, but I love this suit and like it's fine. I'm still gonna like rock it.
I've been doing this for 7 years, and anytime I make a soup for a friend, I do not sleep well for those 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm like, something better not be
Yeah,
off.
no, and he's been amazing. Like I think he probably picked it up for me, but I am like a perfectionist. I like things being on time. I like things being like in order. I'm very specific about things to the detriment of me and my friendships because sometimes I can really be like annoying about it. But I never at any point in time felt like this has been like a delay, there's been something off key or anything that's like made me feel like this is not what I wanted. Or like any I never felt this like comfort of like oh, he like Farhan thinking like, oh, he's just my friend, so like I'll take it easy. Like I don't have to worry about anything. Like no, if anything, I felt like more
Yeah,
attention was paid to everything, and like he called me immediately as he found out, when it's coming in, like what day it's supposed to come in, and I really appreciated that amount of service and
yeah.
care. But I also know that that's not just something you did for me. You did it for all your clients, and
All of our clients,
no matter
we
what. And I think that's great.
yeah, I tell all of our clients that throughout the 3 week span your item is being made, just knowing our production process, I could tell you on any given day in those 3 weeks at what stage your item is at. And just given with how, niche our business is at the moment and how our volume is increasing, I have the ability to get on a call with our master cutters and tailors and see your garment from inception to final product.
Yeah,
And I like to be a part of that stage just to make sure that everything is done with precision. So, we like to say we measure twice and cut once,
yeah,
right? So you just make sure that everything is done as intended. And should errors evolve, it happens. We have solutions and we can mitigate that as it's happening. And we just want to make sure that when your item comes, it exceeds whatever expectations you had from the visual standpoint.
yeah,
The best part of the second fitting is pulling the suit out the garment bag and seeing like their face like, oh,
yeah.
that's mine, you know what I mean? And that's always, the pleasure that we get when we do that.
Yeah, I really love that. Yeah, I feel like we've covered some pretty good ground. Is there anything you feel like you'd like to mention additionally about Lutso or
Yeah,
shoots in general that I might
abs-
have missed?
absolutely. I think you said something that's not for everyone. I like to add a second part of that. It's not for everyone now, but it will be eventually.
Yeah,
And what I mean by that is we are looking to, expand our business and make sure we offer as much as we can to our clientele, whether it's building off the foundation of suits. Again, we want to get into a practice of where if you can wear it, we can make it at a level and integrity that is not readily available for you, perhaps off the rack or shopping physically in stores. We want to make sure that the experience you get, the consultative approach we take, and the real attention to building relationships that we have here, that's what makes our business fun to do now, and hopefully we'll make it successful in the future. And we hope that a lot of your viewers who are, I imagine, very well dressed and cultured and have good taste will, if you're in Houston, feel free to come into the studio just to see what the experience is like. And again, hopefully you'll make two new friends when you come and stop by.
yeah. I mean, if they're listening to this podcast, they obviously have great taste.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I guess beyond that, was there anything in your experience with me and like designing the suit that you thought was like worth mentioning?
Absolutely. Something you said, you think it's to the detriment, but I love perfectionism
Yeah,
because it's unattainable, but we try so much every time,
yeah,
right? I love seeing that someone is putting the attention and value to something that they want in the same capacity that Hamza and I take when we're making something for our clients. You know, you can never be over detailed, I
Yeah.
think. I think that is what's so beautiful about suits. I love the architecture. I love the fit. I love the detail. I love the intimate features that when you're at a distance you may not see, but as you approach, you
Yeah.
start to notice, like the pick stitching around your lapels, the functional buttons being kissing on top of each other,
Yeah.
the cuff trout, well, any nuance that makes your look elevated that you think is important, I promise you, is equally, if not more important to us.
Yeah.
So in the process with you, again, it is difficult, but a challenge we accept. And that and this is jokes aside, you are very well dressed. You do have a sense of style. And I want to make sure that not only is your fit from a physical perspective, outside looking in, look the part, but the details on there that I know that you care about, I was able to offer, and you were able to choose, and they came out in a very, very beautiful, creation as obviously you're wearing right now.
Yeah, I think you did a great job,
Thank you,
and
man.
I think like even the small details like the inside stitching and like the pink inside, like it's things like that. Like I can wear it, but if I know there's something that's not right on the inside or
Yeah,
there's like one stitch was a little off, like no matter how much compliments I get on it, like it'll still like bug me
yeah,
inside. And I felt like the suit was made with like the utmost care and attention to detail,
yeah,
and I appreciate that.
yeah.
And I appreciate you like kind of catering to those needs.
Absolutely.
In terms of I guess so like I like to go back to like the people who either have not yet bought their custom tailored suit or the person that is just like now kind of getting into that field.
Yeah.
What would you say like their first suit consideration should be, just going based on like how I was when I first walked in a suit
Yeah,
supply?
I think you know, I'll share this with Lusso. Our target, clientele is someone that's already had experience with suits and kind of knows at their stage of life what they like, what their interests are, what their passions are. Our level of fabric grade, let's say Super 130s wool, not to just nerd out on fabrics really quickly, but if you were somebody who just graduated out of college and you're asked to wear a suit to work professionally, 3 days a week, what have you, I probably wouldn't sell you a Super 130s wool suit because that level of fabric isn't intended to be a workhorse suit that you can just wear off rip and just really pound to the ground. It'll wear out really quickly, and you'll be left feeling, if you don't know any better, that those Lutzo guys sold me a suit that didn't last. Whereas we turn down business when it's like we find out what it's for, and we're like, look, ours is not the best for you yet. And we offer other solutions. But with that being said, I think the first approach is, again, find out what the need and use will be and stick to that, because that is the entire motivation behind the suit. If you need something just to wear every so often, we can offer fabrics that are appropriate for that. If you need something that you need to wear frequently, we'll make sure we don't give you a fabric that will wear out really quick. So it's really important for us to get to the real root of what you're looking for. And if you're building a wardrobe, again, there's break the rules. If you want a pink suit to be your first suit, great, get it. You
That's
know
what I
what I
was
mean?
getting at.
So
Like, is there like a kind of template, or do you think it's good to just start based on what you like and then just go from there?
I know what's worked for me is that I like versatility. I like colors like navy because it works with everything.
Right. That's why. That's
Colors
why I
like
picked the
gray.
green too. And I asked
Yeah.
him, I was like, I want a suit that, yeah, it is a staple or a statement piece, but I want to be able to also wear it with like so many different colors. And that's what he kind of helped.
Yeah, I would say if you're somebody that wants a roadmap on what your wardrobe should look like, should you be rebuilding it, I would say start with the three fundamentals. Get a navy, get some sort of gray suit, get a black item. It doesn't necessarily have to be a suit. It could be a tuxedo, but something black that you could wear to perhaps black tie events. And then from there, build on top of that. Get different shades of navy, light, dark, shades of gray. And then add fun colors that work with each. Gray and blue are very friendly in terms of matching colors with. For example, you could wear your jacket over a pair of navy pants, and you could wear a light blue shirt underneath over navy, a navy jacket with so it's all sorts of ways to just build the wardrobe
Yeah.
from there and make it very utilitarian in your approach, and I think you'll be off and
And
running.
then I have, I guess, three questions that I feel like I asked you that I just want to kind of get out there. So the first thing was the full cuff, half cuff at the bottom.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of, I mean, men in the initial part of suit ownership understand that. Do you mind explaining what that is?
Yeah, so the cuffing on the trouser, I think you know I'll ask somebody, you know, if they want them on their pants, and they'll be like, "Oh, it's a very older style." I think they associate it with to look, you know, outdated. I think that's the feeling people get when they see like pleated trousers or cuff trousers. To which I respond again, there's no rhyme or reason to do one over the other. I just think that as you build an appreciation in how a suit should look and what's available in terms of styling, take a risk and try something new. And you know, features like that are what can separate a made to measure suit that you made with your thoughts in mind versus having to buy a suit off the rack where the way it's made is the way you're going to get it, right? So I think features that sort of make your item stand out and give you that full customizable approach can make all the difference in how your look is to the trained eye versus, you know, I'm kind of just beholden to what I see off the rack and I don't get a say in that too.
Right.
So I like to make sure that whatever options we have, I walk through top to bottom and you get a sense of feeling like, oh, I have all sorts of different styles and features I can do. And cuff trousers are one, and I personally love. They stack on top of a shoe really nicely.
Yeah.
It really just gives it a nice form of balance too. If you have a lot going on, big lapel, ticket pocket, big waistband, side tabs, but your pants have nothing at the bottom. Sometimes it feels incomplete. So it really just balances out from like a form standpoint and function standpoint as well.
Okay. And the other thing I wanted to go into was how you kind of establish like what color tie or what kind of colors to bring together
Yeah.
and how you kind of establish that.
I
Because I know a lot of guys have trouble with
yeah.
that.
I'm very like shoot from the hip.
Yeah.
A lot of times for me when I put a combo together, shirt, tie, pocket square, whatever, I just look in the mirror and the mirror will tell you what you want to see. If your instinct when you put it on, that looks good. I'm usually off and running. What I like personally is I like to again I like to make color palettes. And that's like the look I'm wearing right now, you know, shades of blue look really well together. And then again, colors like what you're wearing, like a brown on top of a green, look really nice together too. So I would say find
I
there's
feel like this is like a like you can also take nature or elements of nature. So
yeah,
like for me, this is like a desert color. So like,
yeah,
you know, there's like the elements of the white, the brown, the like light, like gold and
yeah,
yellow. Like that's like the stuff you'll see naturally in the desert, and it reflects easily on clothing.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's like water and sky and like the shades of blue, and that's something
Exactly.
you see in nature easily.
Exactly. And I think, you know, my personal sense of style, you know, I'm very, you know, again, I love the Italian sense of style and I'm very traditional in my sense. You know, I like to just keep things muted, keep the features strong, not a lot of crazy prints. Pinstripe fabrics are my favorite.
Yeah,
I'm sure a lot of people will know my friends. That's my favorite
yeah,
pattern. But you know, with that said, I think again, break the rules, man. Like just wear what you want to wear, and if you're feeling it, great. Just have a rhyme and reason behind it, you know?
awesome. All right. And then finally, I guess we'll go into our other passions. This man is a huge Drake fan. And yeah, I want to go into like music is a big part of my life. It's how I express myself. It's stuff I love sharing and deep diving into. Um, how did you fall in love with Drake?
Yeah.
How did you like how does Drake, I guess, combine with this sense of fashion and love for it? Because I know there's like a lot of similarities in that, and I think you bring a lot of that personality and character into
Yeah.
that through Drake. Like I feel like you carry a lot of that Drake energy too. When he does a lot, he's done a couple of wedding speeches. He's a great, gives great speeches, and I think he, you know, he carries a lot of that confidence and energy, and also can probably sing every Drake song by heart. So
Oh man, so you know, I'm Canadian by birth, and I remember when I came across Drake, it was crazy because it was Jimmy from Degrassi. And you're just like, you know, if you ever watch the show,
it's
you know,
nothing.
his personality is just so like, you know, just like, I don't want to say childish, but just so like adolescent. You're like, this dude raps with Lil Wayne.
Yeah,
And I think I was a part of that generation that, you know, fell right in line with his start in music. You know, I was in high school, I think I was 16.
yeah,
You know, his early music is a lot about like his love interests and, you know, like you like girls and the music was kind of like a symbolism for a lot of the relatability that you would have with, you know, in that sense. And so yeah, growing up, man, like I just love the music and I'm big on music too. Like, you know, music's a big part of like fashion for me. Like when I get ready, I have a playlist that I listen to, you know, certain songs that I know that feel good when I'm getting dressed. If I'm wearing a tux, I know what songs that I like. And I think music in hand with fashion, you know, that's why you're seeing so many artists be involved now in some of the biggest fashion, houses in the world. Pharrell is in charge of Louis Vuitton now.
Yeah.
Pharrell, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's awesome. I think there is a community in both that has been brought together, and I'm here for it. So personally, I think, he was one of the first artists, I think, that Tom Ford sort of for men, Tom Ford sort of started dressing, and again, that's my favorite designer when it comes to evening wear. And he was early in his career wearing Tom Ford tuxedos and rapping about dressing a certain way. I was gravitated towards his approach to starting his own too. It's kind of funny that he had a brand, and now it's like recognizable everywhere, and they
And
make
it's
good
pretty good
quality
stuff.
clothes.
Like
It's great
we've
stuff.
bought
I'm really
we've
impressed.
bought a couple of stuff together, and it's like some of the best. Like he has French terry fabric,
Amazing.
really good quality cottons, and a lot of artists have merch, and I'm like a merch slut. Like I
Yeah.
love buying merch from artists I love, and the one thing I noticed is when I bought like that, I was like, wow, this actually feels like a clothing brand
Yeah.
material. And I remember like that's around the time we became friends, and I really
I
appreciated
got
that
that hoodie
aspect.
from you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like it's such a good quality hoodie,
Yeah.
like, and it's just amazing that it's from, Drake out of all people,
Yeah.
but it does show his attention to fashion and detail and quality, and I could totally see how you vibe with him based on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think again, it started for him in music as a passion. Look what it's become. And I
Yeah.
think to anybody who has a passion, everybody does, right? Just figure out a way you can keep you, be a part of your life. It doesn't necessarily have to be like, hey, I'm gonna invest some personal capital and start a business, but like, if you're an artist, keep drawing. If you like music, try your hand at making, beats that are representative of the genre you like. If like you have interest in tech and in dentistry, and I feel like you followed all of your pursuits and they're part of your life, and they tell the story of who Hamza is. And equally with us and Lutso, we're all about a luxury experience and dressing and looking a certain way, and we want to make sure that if we can add value to your passion and pursuits and the way you dress, then you'll find the same sort of excitement that we do.
It's a good way to end this,
Yeah.
bro. We'll keep that on the Instagram reel. But yeah, I love you, man. I'm proud of you
Love
for
you
doing
too, bro.
this.
Thank you so much. It means a lot.
Thank you for taking your time on this podcast.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming,
Um,
and I can't wait for your next suit, bro.
yeah, man. I like to end the podcast with like any personal questions you have about me, anything you want to kind of like bring up at the end of the podcast. Go for it.
I know you well. We don't live in the same cities. I think we get a good sense of seeing each other when you come down here to visit your family, or when I get to go up to Austin, where I have my family, and I don't get to see you, I guess, in your day to day. I kind of see you for events. So I wanted to ask, now that you have the suit and you have the outfit, I know the reason why, of course, you bought this for a specific reason, and I guess I'll keep that private. But where would you wear something like this? You know what I mean? I feel like this is a great look on you. If you had to talk to me about what a Friday night would look like if you wore this suit, ideally.
Um, yeah, I mean, I'm always like you, like I love being more overdressed than underdressed at events, and I've started to really step out of my comfort zone with fashion. I
Yeah,
think as of the last 2 years, my best friend's eyes pushed me to do that. You've given me more kind of inspiration in that. That's why I picked green. That's why I pick like the wider lapels. Like I think I have some style inspirations from like Harry Styles and Ryan Gosling and all these different guys. So I like to see how I can push the envelope in certain areas. And I live
yeah,
in Austin, which luckily is a city full of like fashion and style. And you could wear whatever you want, and people won't really like stare or whatever. But in this situation, like I think what I love about this suit is I can totally see myself wearing this for like a dental ceremony event or like
yeah,
a professional event where I need to present myself in my profession as a dentist and really carry myself in like how, because dentistry, I think that's why also I think aligned with that profession so well is because I'm so very specific about details and like
yeah,
little minute things. And the suit represents that so well. So if I go into something like that, people can see me and be like, this guy
yeah,
knows, he understands cosmetics, he understands like the finite details
yeah,
of dentistry, and like this guy cares about appearance
yeah.
and like not in a like superficial, like shallow way, but more like if he looks this good wearing that suit, like he's gonna make my teeth look that good, or he's gonna like make his practice look that good.
Yeah.
Like it like you said, it like it's a representation of you as a whole in your other facets of life, and I want that to be me. And yeah, I would also, from a selfish perspective, love to wear this for like a romantic occasion, like, maybe some girl invites me to like a wedding
Yeah.
event, and this would be my suit to wear because it would be like that first impression of like, this is a guy that I could see myself marrying.
I could see you like in an Italian restaurant by yourself, cigar, and then you see a girl you like and you go to the piano and you just start playing something.
Some La La Land stuff. Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
mean,
like I could totally see you just owning a room. You know
yeah,
what I
I
mean? Like
like
just coming in and taking command. I
I
can certainly
appreciate
see
that.
that.
Yeah, no, and I think that's the beauty of these suits is it really does give you a sense of confidence and comfort. Like I feel like I can sit anywhere and feel like I either belong there or like I'm meant to be there. And
Yeah.
I think that's what's awesome about suits and just how they make you feel in situations because initially, like for the most part, I'm very introverted. I'm very
Yeah.
like keep to myself, and I still am when I wear the suit. But I also feel this like, oh, like if somebody approaches me, I can carry myself a little more, like my back straighter, my spine is like straight up, and everything's just like well set because the suit also builds you that way, and you
Yeah.
look better that way with it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and if that hope that
I
answers
know,
your question.
absolutely. I mean, I think we share that in that sense that, it says a lot without saying anything.
Yeah,
And for someone like myself, for better or worse, I want to walk into a room and I want my presence felt.
yeah,
So
that's
sometimes the suit is the easiest and quickest way to do
exactly.
that. I oftentimes look much more, I guess, important or cooler than I guess really am, but
No,
I'll always take it.
you definitely back it up with that. But yeah, great question. And thanks again for coming
Thanks
on.
for having me, bro. What a pleasure.
Real quick, Farhan's just going to explain the concept of Lutso, and I'll pass it on to him real quick.
I would say, look, man, like again, on that note of following your passions, again, I'm a big fan of this podcast and to all of the guests that you've had prior, I really enjoyed, how you get people really, I mean, I'm so excited just talking about this. I'm sure you
Yeah,
can
man.
tell, but this is what's really cool for me in that I get to keep this as a part of my life, something that allows me to meet new people and to any one of your fans that watch that ever have any questions, need style advice, or want my thoughts on something, I hope they know that I'm as approachable as can be. And you can follow us at Lusso MTM on Instagram. That's probably the easiest way to get in touch with us and check the website out. And we make great content. We're pushing a lot of stuff out, so we'd love all of your fans to share their thoughts. And if they like it, please follow. And I can't wait to share with you guys what we have in store.
Yeah, man. And I will leave all of his information, including his website, his Instagram, and personal info. If you need it, feel free to reach out to him. Thank you again, Farhan, for coming on this podcast. Thank you, Hamza, in the background, for handling all the tech in the back. And yeah, thanks for listening to Hanging Out with Hamza. This is the first episode of season 2, and it was an honor having Farhan on there. Make sure you get your first suit through Lutso. All right, take care, guys.